is up, fam? Man, I am so glad to be here with you today. Whether you're watching on Live Rooms or whether you're just scrolling down YouTube, man, and you just came across this message, don't tune out because I believe whether you're watching this by yourself or whether you're in the living room, I believe that God has a specific word just for you. Man, for the last couple of weeks, we've been working around this idea of don't count me out. We've been taking characters of the Bible and just understanding like what happened when people count them out. What happened? How did God use them? And just learning from their lives. And man, today I'm so excited because I get to share with you about somebody that is really dear to my heart, and his name is Joseph. But before we jump into Joseph's life, let's recap last week for a second. Remember Moses? People did not count Moses out. Remember, he counted himself out. And what we learned that it is time for us to do something now, right? Do something now with what we have. Taking step number 1, not looking at step 5 or 6, but doing something now with what we have. But then also trusting God with the things we don't have, with the things we don't know. And today, I didn't want to leave you hanging because what I want you to know is as soon as you're taking your steps forward, as soon as you're taking step number 3 or 4 or 5 or 1, whatever step you are, I want you to understand something. There are some particular things that will happen to you. And that is kind of like what I want to talk to you about today, honestly. I want to talk to you what happens when you decide to take a step forward. There's this guy I told you, one of my favorite characters of the Bible. His name is Joseph, and Joseph, he was a dreamer, man. I mean, in despite of everything that happened to him in his life, I mean, he was not counted out by his father or mother, and perhaps his mom and dad loved Joseph. I mean, they loved him, and that is one of the reasons why his brothers did not like him. That is the reason why his brothers counted him out. And see, there are things that happen in Joseph. I mean, he was the little brother. He was dad's favorite. I mean, if you're in the room right now, I mean, if you believe you are mom's and dad's favorite, you just lift up your hand. Anybody? I mean, you are, or you think you are, kind of. I mean, his big brothers did not like this dad and mom favorite thing, but everything really went south. Everything exploded when Joseph shared 2 big dreams, not just with his mom and dad, but with his brothers. I mean, these dreams basically, because of the time, we're not going to go into the details of the dreams, but basically these 2 dreams that he had, they were like, listen, I am going to be the leader. I am going to be the main guy, and all of you guys are going to worship me. Crazy dreams, right? So his brothers did not like this at all. They did not like this dream to the point that they wanted to kill Joseph. Look what happened here in Genesis chapter 37, verse 18. It says, when Joseph's brothers saw him coming, they recognized him in the distance. As he approached, they made plans to kill him. Oh, here comes the dreamer. They said, come on, let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns. We can tell our father a wild animal has eaten him. Then we'll see what becomes of his dreams. I mean, one of his brothers said, hey, there comes the dreamer. There comes the guy. We don't like him. There's no way he's going to be the leader. So let's just go ahead and kill him. And you know what? And Reuben brings some sense into their lives and say, hey, we just don't kill him. Let's sell him to slavery or something. So they sell Joseph into slavery. I mean, think about it. Joseph, all he did was just share the dream that was inside of him. All Joseph did was take a step number 4 to 5. Maybe step number 1. All Joseph did was like, hey, here's my dream. Here's what I feel God is calling me to do. And what happened? It brought anger to his brothers. It brought jealousy. Look what jealousy does to all of them. Like I said, there's a plot to kill him. Reuben, though, comes into the picture and says, let's don't kill him. Let's just sell him. And let's tell our father that he died. So that's what they do. They throw Joseph into a cistern. They ripped out his coat. They put around some lamb blood, and they go to his father and say, hey, Joseph has died. But he didn't die. They sold him into slavery. I mean, think how crazy this whole thing is. And all of this happened because of jealousy. All of this, I mean, think about it. Joseph was just trying to take step number one and share with the brother, and all of that brought what? Death. It brought conviction. It brought jealousy. All of this did not put him in the things that he thought he should be. He just tried to take step number one, and look what happened. His brothers betrayed him. And so all of us have dreams. All of a sudden, you are fired up. I'm fired up. I'm like, this is my God-given purpose. This is my God-given dream. Last week, we learned, hey, I'm taking step number one, and I'm doing it now. And I'm going to trust that God will provide the things I do not know, but I'm doing it now. And here's what I want you to know, okay? Just like all of us have dreams, the same thing that happened to Joseph will happen to you and will happen to me. Here's my main point today, okay? Understand that your dreams will be tested. Welcome. Your dreams will be tested when you choose to take a step forward towards your God-given destiny, to your God-given purpose. Guess what? Your dreams, your plans, your steps will be tested. Because the reality is here, a dream worth testing is a dream worth using. See, the reason why so many of you are being tested right now, you've taken some steps since last week. And you're like, I'm not where I was supposed to be. I'm having to deal with all of these things. And all of a sudden, there's so many things happening to me. I don't want you to freak out. It is normal. My friend, your dreams will be tested. Because a dream worth testing is a dream worth using. Joseph, in the same chapter his dream is revealed, in the same chapter is where his dream is tested. Think how crazy that is. I mean, it is in the same chapter God gave him a dream. In the same chapter, his brothers sold him to slavery. And this was just the beginning, by the way. His dreams were about to be tested in a mighty way. Like I said, a dream worth testing is a dream that God wants to use. So Joseph, here's a dreamer, right? And with a God-given dream. But his experiences, his circumstances are not showing that. Perhaps he's questioning more than ever. What is this? I thought, God, you gave me a dream that I was going to rule over everybody, and now here I am in a slavery on my way to Egypt, rejected by his own family. If you keep reading through his journey, there was valleys and tested. Why? Because it was a dream worth using. And like I said, you and I, my friend, we're not different than Joseph. And if you have a dream today, if you're pursuing your God-given destiny, here's what I want you to know. There's some testing that your dream must go through in order for God to use it. And what I want to do today, I want to take a Joseph's life and I want to show you 3 different scenarios from his life. 3 different tests that I believe your dream will be tested through. That I believe your purpose will be tested through. And we're just going to look at Joseph's life. And I want you to lean in. I want you to take notes because I believe that, it is very hard to fight something you are not aware of. But when you recognize and you are aware of the things, that the reasons of why God is testing all things, I believe you have this ability and this capacity to fight. This capacity to stand in the midst of all of this testing. Because here's the reality of it, and I want you to know this. A test is there for you to pass it, okay? A test is not there to bring you down, to pull you out, or to get you out of the game. Every single test, I mean, you can say it's cool. Every single test is there so that you can get an A on it, right? No, there's no test out there that says, hey, I want you to get an F on it. No, every single test is in there so that you can pass them. So today I just want to show you 3 tests that your dream, your purpose, your identity will have to go through, okay? Number 1, it is the test of integrity. The test of integrity. Write that down. See, this is the test where your character is put to the test. This is the kind of test that reveals what's really inside of you. Not what you post on social media. Not the repost of Sadie Robertson's Instagram quotes. Not the Bible recap quotes. No. This is not what you put on social media. This is the test where no one else sees. See, fast forward Joseph's life. He's sold into slavery. And he's working now in Egypt. And he's working for this guy named Potiphar. And this guy Potiphar is really wealthy. He really likes Joseph. So he puts Joseph in charge of everything he owns, except him and his wife, of course. So Joseph is now in charge of all of Potiphar's possession, all of Potiphar's things. And Joseph, I mean, he's great. And this guy is a good-looking guy, okay? Look what happens in Genesis chapter 39, verse 6 and 7. So Potiphar gave Joseph complete administrative responsibility over everything he owned. With Joseph there, he didn't worry about a thing except what kind of food to eat. Not interesting? Joseph was a very handsome and well-built young man. You're probably thinking, "Oh my, like that sounds a lot like Pastor Brian," but we'll move on there. Verse 7, look what it says. And Potiphar's wife soon began to look at him lustfully. Okay? Come and sleep with me, she demanded. But Joseph refused. Here is the first test of Joseph's dream. Okay? I mean, right now, Joseph is in charge of a lot of things. He has a lot of responsibilities. And the first thing that happens, guess what happens? God is about to test the integrity of Joseph through Potiphar's wife. He was an attractive guy. Potiphar's wife came and says, "Come and sleep with me." I mean, come on, Joseph. No one will ever know. And it is in this moment of isolation, in a moment where no one else is looking, where the test of integrity presents itself. What do you do when no one else is looking? When no one is around you? Joseph, he runs away. Look what happens. Joseph refused. "Look," he told her, "my master trusts me with everything in his entire household. No one here has more authority than I do. He has held back nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How could I do such a wicked thing? It would be a great sin against God." And she kept putting pressure on Joseph day after day, but he refused to sleep with her, and he kept out of her way as much as possible. Look at that. One day, here it is. When no one else was around, when no one else is looking, she came back and said, "Sleep with me." What does Joseph do? He refuses. Joseph ran away because he knew that if he stayed in that spot, his flesh will fail. Some of you, my friend, you need to start running away. Some of you have the ability to accomplish your God-given dream, but let me tell you something. Your gifts, your talents can take you so far. Pastor Bill says it all the time, and I love this quote. He says, "Don't let your gifts take you where your character cannot keep you." See, it is your character that God is after. It is your character that will sustain you. It is your character that will keep you in the long game. It is not your gift. It is your character. See, I am here for the long way. My goal is to last. And so I gotta understand that God is more concerned about my character than he is about my gift. It is my character that is gonna keep me in the mountaintop. See, some of you, your gifts can take you to the mountaintop, but it is your character that is going to keep you there. My friend, your dream will be tested, and it will be this test of integrity. And here's what I want you to write down, okay? This test of integrity will produce character. Not just character, but good character within you. This is what this test produces. So test number 1 is a test of integrity. Test number 2, okay, you ready? It's a test of fidelity. That's a big word, okay? I know, I got it. Trust me, it's a big word. But what is the test of fidelity? It's a test of faithfulness. Genesis chapter 40, if you keep on reading, what comes out of this, of Joseph, like some of us are like, man, yes, Joseph ran away. Joseph refused to sleep with Potiphar's wife. And what does that bring him? Did that bring him more wealth and more responsibilities? No. See, Potiphar's wife accused Joseph. And he says, "No, he wanted to sleep with me." He falsely accused him. And so what happened? Joseph is put into jail. Isn't that interesting? The moment Joseph decided to stand for what he believed, it did not bring more blessings to him, right? It put him on jail. It put him on the pit. It brought him even deeper. So now Joseph is in jail, and he has an encounter with two interesting guys. There's a guy, he was a baker, and there's another guy, he was the cupbearer. And they were right there with Joseph. And look what happened in Genesis chapter 40, verse 5. It says, while they were in prison, Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker, each one of them had a dream one night, and each dream had its own meaning. When Joseph saw them the next morning, he noticed that they both looked upset. Why do you look so worried today? He asked them. And they replied, we both had dreams last night, but no one can tell us what they mean. Interpreting dreams is God's business, Joseph replied. Go ahead and tell me your dreams. You can keep on reading, and I hope you do, and I hope this intrigues you to go back and to read your Bible. But look what happened in there. It blew my mind when I read this. These two guys, the cupbearer and the baker, they both have dreams. There's no one is helping us. No one is interpreting this dream. And what does Joseph do? He willingly put himself out there to serve and to interpret their dreams. Here's what blew my mind. Joseph was willing to serve the dreams of others before his own dream was going to come to pass. Joseph was willing to serve other people's dream as he was waiting for God to reveal and to produce his own dream in him. That shows me something, my friend. That should show us something, that if we're not willing to serve the dreams of others, we will never enter into the dream God has for you and has for me. See, the vision of this church is massive. It's a big vision. And this is not just Pastor Brent's vision. This is not just Pastor Brian's vision. And you and I must take ownership and serve this vision. And I believe as you serve the vision of this house, I believe with all of my heart that your dream can come to pass within the vision of our church for this world. But what happens, right? So many of us are so focused on myself, me, myself, and I. And we're not willing to serve under the vision. And all God is trying to do is to just test your faithfulness. Are you willing to serve others as you wait for your own dream to come to pass? And you see, instead of us saying, what can I get? What can I get? What can I get? We should start saying, what can I give? What can I do? See, the God-given dream inside of you is a small part in the big vision God has for this place. But you're going to have to decide. It's a choice. It's a choice. It's, okay, my integrity will be tested, but also my faithfulness. Am I willing to be under? It is under authority where God begins to bless your life. See, the test of fidelity, my friend, will produce maturity. See, the test of integrity, that produces good character. But the test of fidelity will produce maturity. And here's the last test. You ready? The test, write it down, of time. So you have the test of integrity, right? That produces good character. Then you have the test of fidelity, what produces maturity. But there's a test, and it's called the test of time. So many of us have been here 2 months, and we feel that God has forgotten us, right? God gave you a dream. And it's been 2 weeks and you're like, oh my God, why have you forsaken me? Maybe nobody appreciates you anymore. Maybe people have left you. Maybe people have betrayed you. Oh, where is God in all of this? Genesis chapter 39. I want you to know this. In Genesis chapter 39, God reveals his dream for Joseph's life. And in Genesis chapter 43, that dream comes to pass. What I want you to know is that from Genesis chapter 39 to Genesis chapter 43, there's been past, how many years have passed? 13. Joseph was 17 years old when his dream was revealed. And Joseph was 30 years old when his dream came to pass. 13 years. And here we are. For so many of us, 2 months have passed and we feel like God has forgotten us. But why do we feel like that? Because we hate waiting, don't we? If there's anything that I've learned in American culture is that people in America hate waiting. And now guess what? I've adopted that too. I hate waiting. If Chick-fil-A takes more than 5 minutes for my order, guess what? Poor review. You know what I'm talking about? We hate waiting. I hate red lights. I hate them, right? We hate waiting. But we got to understand that waiting, it's God's part of the plan too. Okay? It's part of it. And your dream will have to survive the test of time. The test of time, my friend, will produce patience, will produce wisdom. The time of God, though, my friend, you have to trust it. And it is perfect. So my question is, can you trust in God's timing? As you take step after step, if you're refusing to count yourself out and to refuse to accept the fact that people have counted you out, as you make all these steps, you have to understand that you have to trust God in all of this. You have to trust in the things that you cannot do. And yes, your God-given dream will be tested, okay? It will be tested in your integrity, in your fidelity, and in the time. And like I said earlier, these tests, my friend, are here not to avoid them. Don't avoid this test. When the test of integrity comes, don't avoid it. When the test of fidelity comes, don't avoid it. When the test of time comes, do not avoid it, but pass them. Here's the truth. I need you to know something. At the end of the day, now hopefully you are aware. You are aware that your dream will be tested, that your purpose will be tested, that your God-given plan will be tested. But this message and the message last week, it's not a message that says, you know what, go try. Go do it yourself. Try harder. You got it. Come on. You do it. You do it. You do it. No. This is not a message. I'm not trying to tell you go do it yourself. The reality is that you will not be able to pass any of these tests on your own. You will not be able to pass any of these tests alone. All throughout Joseph's life, his theme of his life, there's 5 words that are highlighted all throughout his life. And I hope that you go see it. Go read it for yourself. Go read 37, 38, Genesis chapter 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. Read it, and you'll find these 5 words all across Joseph's life. Look what chapter 39, verse 2, and this is all over his life. Look what it says. And the Lord was with Joseph. Okay? And the Lord was with Joseph. So he succeeded in everything he did as he served in the home of his Egyptian master. Gotcha? And the Lord was with Joseph. It was God's presence that was able to, it was his presence in the life of Joseph that allowed him to run from Potiphar's wife, that allowed him to be sustaining even when things did not make sense in prison. As he was waiting for 13 years, the presence of God was the very thing that sustained Joseph's dream. See, you will not be able to do this on your own. You need the presence of God. And the Lord was with Joseph. And the Lord is with Brian. And the Lord is with Alex. And the Lord is with Erica. And the Lord is with you. Pastor Brent said this a few years ago when he did a series on the life of Joseph and changed my life. He says, how would you lead and live your life if you were completely confident that God was with you? God is with you. My friend, you've been hearing me say this over, and I will say it over and over again. It is not the plan that sustains you. It is the promise. See, the plans will change. Your plans will change as you mature, as you grow up. Your plans will change, but His presence will remain the same. And it is His presence that will carry you from point A to point B, to point C to point D. Until the day we see Jesus face to face, it will be His presence. Jesus says, and please go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. But please know this, then I am with you as you're being obedient, as you're taking steps. I am with you even to the end of the age. His presence is enough. Your dream will be tested. As you take these steps, you're going to be tested, but know that His presence will be with you through it all. Lean onto His presence. I love you.